Wish TV salutes 75 years of the Indianapolis 500.
Sports Locker Extra. Countdown to Glory. Sponsored by the new generation of olds, Michelob Dry, and by Amico Silver.
Hello and welcome to Countdown. I'm Fred Kalil. We're going to take you through a month of May here at Indianapolis that has turned out to be an exciting one. One that sees Rick Mears on the pole for a record 6th time, and one that has A.J. Foyt, the first 4-time champion at the Speedway, right next to Mears on the front row in what could be A.J.'s last race here at the Brickyard. Gary Bentonhausen, the fastest qualifier of the month, at over 224 miles an hour in his Buick. And we're also going to take you on Willie T. Ribb's roller coaster ride that finally put him in the show. He's the first black driver to qualify for the 500. But we're going to begin this show with what we began the month, those nasty little weepers. The month of May had hardly begun when the first controversy had already surfaced. Several of the 1991 Lolas were not able to pass USAC's technical inspection. The problem involved an illegal offset suspension. Dick Rea explains.
For Indianapolis, the United States Auto Club rules state that the front suspensions of the cars have to be symmetrical, which means they have to be virtually the same length on both sides of the car. Before this team made the necessary changes on their 1991 Lola, the right side was about 3/4 of an inch longer than the left side. So they had to change this right side wishbone overnight.
Dodge officials introduced the prototype Dodge Viper as the pace car for this year's race on a day when the yellow light burned more often than not. It was only fitting for a yellow car to make the first pass along the main straightaway in front of the grandstands. For those waiting out a soggy beginning to May activities, the car of John Andretti was part of the payoff. Officially, Scott Brayton of the Dick Simon Racing Team gets credit for being the first out on the track, but their well-thought-out plan of attack had a slight hitch. Brayton can also hold claim to being the first to find some problems, forcing him to bring his backup T car into the pits a bit prematurely.
It's not a major thing, but it's something that we wanted to go back and look at more. I really stood on the car and got her up to speed, but it is nice that the rain held off long enough that, you know, we could get out and the guys could get a chance to do a little running. Fans get to see some Indy cars back in May.
For Brayton and 7 other drivers, it would not be a day to begin the search for speed. Moisture seeping through the pavement, or weepers as they're affectionately known, made for some slow going. While Channel 8's Robin Miller was writing his article for the Sunday Star, press room manager Bill York makes the announcement of the track's official closing time.
Track closed for the day at 4:50. And you're happy.
Mike Groff's speed of 153.5 will go on record as the day's fastest. Well, maybe 30 years ago that might have raised a few eyebrows. After a lengthy weather delay, the Motor Speedway was opened officially at 3:19. Running was under the caution yellow, and the track was closed at 5:12. It was the second straight day the green flag did not fly at Indianapolis without a speed limit being imposed. For the record, the fastest lap of the day was turned in by Mario Andretti at 1:99.001. And the Weeper Patrol was in full force throughout the day as water continued to seep through the cracks in the track. On Monday, Rick Mears was the first to clear the 220-mile-an-hour barrier with a lap of 2:20.297 just before the noon hour. The fastest lap of the day was turned in with just 5 minutes left in practice by Rick's teammate, Emerson Fittipaldi, driving the Marlboro Penske Chevy. Emo topped the day's charts at 2:23.981. Also making fast laps during the day were Michael and Mario Andretti, with laps of 2:21 plus. Supertex prepares to make his first practice run since being cleared by the Speedway medical staff. Photographers and fans alike have been waiting for this moment since his crash at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, late last year.
I definitely want to get it out and just shake it down for oil leaks, in case anything major we found, so we wouldn't lose a whole day. That was the biggest thing. A lot of times you can get out and run 2 or 3 laps and find something wrong that you didn't anticipate, and knock you out for the next day, and it puts you a day behind. But like I say, it looks like everything went pretty well today. Well, I'm in pain constantly. That's when you see me sit down a lot. And if I sit down, I look like a drunk when I first get up. I'm kind of like an old sore horse. I got to warm up a little bit, and then I'm fine. Well, yeah, I felt good this morning. I didn't feel there'd be no problem getting cleared, not because I was AJ for it, but even I felt like I was healthy enough. And I think they want to do one more check on me before the race to see how I progress during the month.
You could say on Tuesday things were flying at the 2.5-mile oval. Leading the way was Rick Mears with the fastest lap of the month at 2:26.569 in his Marlboro Penske Chevy. It marked the 4th consecutive year that Mears had the fastest lap after 4 days of practice.
We're just kind of getting settled in and seeing what we can do with it, see what the car likes. The new Marlboro car, and it's new in every respect, so we need to find out what its temperament is.
A.J. Foyt was finally up to speed after solving a problem with his helmet. He was experiencing a buffeting problem created by the turbulence of the race car. Kendall Merrill of Bell Helmets explains some of the solutions.
Basically what we're doing are adding some aerodynamic devices, vortex generators, for example, that help break the air off of the surface of the helmet and reattach it to the bodywork behind the driver's head. Trip strips to the top of the helmet, which will help reduce lift. And in addition to that, we have a special device that can be attached in the speedway applications like at Indianapolis that help reduce the volume behind the head and trap the turbulent air and keep it from getting back behind the driver's head.
Gary Bendenhausen joins the ranks of the elite as he turns a 2:24.888 in his 1991 Lola Buick. It's the fastest lap ever turned in by this veteran of 18 Indy races. One of the fastest laps of the day happened with moments left in practice, but Rick Mears ran out of fuel and parked his machine at the end of the pits. Temperatures in the upper 70s greeted the racers Wednesday as Bobby Rahal set the standard for the day at just over 226 miles an hour. Rahal was very happy with the performance of his machine.
The car's handling very well, and I think we're getting a good feel for it. The car went very well this afternoon when it was the hottest, so we went 224 then, and I was kind of more pleased about that than anything. So, we got to keep at it, but so far so good.
Jim Crawford, driving the factory Lola Buick, becomes the 2nd fastest driver of a car carrying a stock block power plant. The lap is 2:25.643, just a little over 3/10 off his mark set in 1989. Other drivers working their way up the ladder of top speeds this day are defending champion Ari Luyendyk at just under 225, and Al Unser Jr. at 224.5. This was also the day for blown engines, as Rick Mears has problems with the Chevy. White smoke bellows out of the back of Danny Sullivan's Alfa. The day's other incident occurred when Hiro Mashusta's car caught fire, making him one of the hottest rookies at the track this month. Mario Andretti sets the pace for the day with a 225-mile-an-hour lap shortly before noon. Thursday was also the day that Willie T. Ribbs would begin his quest for speed and a chance to pass his rookie test. This would follow several days of all-night sessions getting the Lola equipped with the Buick engine.
Being the first block to ever come to Indianapolis, and since it's the 75th anniversary of the biggest race in the world, I figured I'd better be here to get it on tape.
The 1991 Lola Buick of Kevin Cogan was dialed in late in Thursday's session for the fastest lap of the month so far. Cogan topped the 226-mile-per-hour mark at 226.677, making it the fastest unofficial lap in a car powered by a stock block engine.
We're going to be making changes all the way through to the track conditions and stuff, but, it's a calculated guess, and sometimes you guess wrong. If everything's perfect, I think we can run for the front row, but we can make a mistake, too.
On a day when the temperatures were cool and the speeds were hot, Emerson Fittipaldi improved upon his top speed, turning a 226.512 for the 3rd fastest speed of the month. As the first week of practice was coming to a close, it appeared that it was going to be incident-free until Rick Mears came down the front straightaway and made contact with the first turn wall. The accident was his first at the Speedway since his arrival in 1977.
You okay?
Mears was cleared to run the backup machine late in the day, and it took only a few laps to record one of his fastest of the month. The month's second incident resulted in multiple injuries for rookie Mark Dismore of Greenfield. After hitting the outside wall and the inside wall, the car breaks apart when it hits the end of the outside pit retaining wall. The accident closed the track for the day, and Dismore was transported to Methodist Hospital via Lifeline.
With the Oldsmobile Toronado's advanced engine and suspension, some look at it solely as a driver's car. And with a tastefully refined interior like this, some look at Toronados solely as a personal luxury car. But they all agree with Toronado's uncommon design. They just like to look at it. Period.
Welcome to the greatest spectacle in chicken. Team Waffle House introduces its new stable of thrilling entrees. Chickens at speed, no matter when you want them. 24 hours a day.
Hi, I'm Dean Hall. Tyson Chicken and I are proud to be part of Team Waffle House this year, because when it comes to great tasting chicken, Waffle House has lots of it, any way you want it, fast.
Which came first, the chicken and the egg at Waffle House?
With Tyson Chicken at Waffle House, the competition doesn't have a leg to stand on.
For the look that gets the looks, use Dutch Boy Satin Finish Paint. It's the one finish every room should start with.
Dutch Boy, he works hard for your money.
There are those who thirst for something different, something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste, with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
It seemed only fitting that Super Tex would get first crack at the pole on his final qualification run at Indianapolis. A.J. Foyt would grab the pole with an average of over 222 miles an hour and would not relinquish it for almost 2 hours.
Well, I'm just glad everything went good today. Usually I draw that number one. We have trouble. I think this is the first time I've drawn number one and took it the first day.
Qualification attempt number 16 provides us with the 9th qualifier of the day and the mark that the others would shoot for, as Rick Mears becomes the pole sitter for the 6th time with a run of just over 224 miles an hour.
You know, considering the circumstances with the, you know, the T car and everything that we went through with the race car, we're fortunate to be able to be here running it all. So, and we had a good run for the way the conditions were. The Marlboro car worked very well. The track was very slippery. I feel like we earned the speed that we had today.
There would be 12 qualifiers before the rains came at 4:30 and the track closed at 5:45. And the rain left Emerson Fittipaldi as a second-day qualifier when Roger Penske waved off a front-row run at 3:52 in the afternoon. As is the custom on Sunday after the race for the pole, the front row becomes the picture of attraction. Morning practice saw Dominic Dobson find the 4th turn wall. He suffered a broken leg, but would return to the track later in the week in a backup car. Early in qualification runs, the fastest speed of the month would come from a Lola with Buick power, and Gary Bettenhausen is the driver. The speed, 224.468 miles an hour. But the second-day run leaves Gary B on the inside of row 5.
We were playing the game with Roger Penske, and every time I'd move to the back of the line, then he pulled Emil out and moved Emil to the back of the line, and, you know, we were all going for the pole.
The day leaves 11 slots to be filled for a complete field. After 2 days of qualifications, 21 cars took to the track on Monday, and with drivers observing, Willie T. Ribbs passed his rookie test early in the afternoon. The final phase consisted of 10 laps at 200 to 205 miles an hour.
You know, we got a tremendous amount of work to do, and I've got a lot of learning to do here, a lot.
In mid-afternoon, Mario and Michael Andretti performed turbulence tests in the Haviland Lola Chevys as they run close together in the backstretch. Later, both would experience engine problems in their backup machines. Ari Lyondike showed the fastest speed on this day as Vince Granatelli's team prepares for race day. Before the track opened Tuesday, Gordon Johncock learned of his fate regarding a ride in this year's 500.
Hemmelgarn Racing, Jonathan Bird, we're pleased to announce that Gordy Johncock will be driving our third car for the Indy 500. He'll be joining Stan Fox and Buddy Lazier.
The 54-year-old veteran will drive the 1990 Lola Cosworth out of the Hemmelgarn Bird stable. After a quick speed of the day turned in by Lyondike, the track was closed because of high winds and blowing debris at 12:25. Later, the Dodge Viper pace car is pelted by hail, and people scurried to seek shelter from a downpour that would officially close the track at 4:05. Wednesday morning, Roberto Guerrero is fitted into the number 40 car of the Patrick Racing Team. He joins Danny Sullivan with Alfa Romeo. After turning several comfortable laps, he returns to the pits with a blown engine.
The Alfa program is still a development program, and they still have a ways to go. But it's already, in 1 year, it's improved a lot.
Watch Tony Bentonhausen as he exits turn 4 and begins spinning. He does complete spins without hitting the wall, coming to rest in the front straightaway.
Well, I was on the brakes and off the brakes and trying to steer it backwards and doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but, you know, we're pretty fortunate.
Only 2 unqualified cars would make it above 210 miles an hour on Thursday. Hiro Matsushita was just over 214. Then a 2:30 p.m. rain caused a delay in the practice session. Willie T. Ribbs continued to experience engine problems, and the team was grounded while the rains fell and the track was closed at 4:47. Friday, the last day of practice before the second weekend of qualifications, would see Willie T. and his saga continue. Early in the afternoon, another engine failure would occur after reaching just above the 213 mark.
Right, well, I had told him on the radio that it's over.
Making some bad noises with it.
No, it's bam. I mean, like a hand grenade. Yeah. Just like the other one popped.
Grinding in the back?
No, just bam.
Pop, and that was it.
Boom.
This setback appeared to be the end of the Willie T. story.
I don't know. I just think we are done. As of now, we are finished.
Later that evening, another engine and a lot of work kept alive the hopes of the first black driver at Indianapolis.
Hop into Amoco and take the Silver One tank test. Fill up with 1 tank full of Amoco Silver. It'll clean up the filthiest fuel injectors. Not 5 tankfuls. Not 3 tankfuls. New and improved Amoco Silver with even more cleaning power does it in just 1 tankful, or your money back. So take the Silver One tank test and bring back the acceleration. Bring back the power.
With the Oldsmobile Toronado's advanced engine and suspension, some look at it solely as a driver's car. And with a tastefully refined interior like this, some look at Toronados solely as a personal luxury car. But they all agree with Toronado's uncommon design. They just like to look at it. Period.
The Pepsi Summer Chill Out gives us permission to let our hair down.
I don't know, but what else am I going to do this summer?
It's games, promotions, fun, and free cars.
It's like Woodstock, man.
It's people in tight pants moving fast.
Dr. Robert P. Maddox on Sports Medicine.
In our sports-minded society, chronic pain can become a way of life. Don't mask the injury with drugs. We use the latest in X-ray analysis and therapy to relieve chronic sports injuries and pain. Call me now for a free spinal exam and consultation.
Maddox Chiropractic Clinic, now at a brand new state-of-the-art facility at South Meridian and Fairview Road in Greenwood. Call now for your free consultation and exam.
On this, the third day of qualifications, an accident would end Dean Hall's day. In his search for speed, car 97 found the wall and turned 4 during the morning practice session. Hall would spend the night in Methodist Hospital with a broken leg. The 37th qualification attempt of the month saw rookie Hiro Masushita take his turn and become the first Japanese driver ever in the Indy 500.
Come on, baby. We're going to the dance, boys. We're going to the dance.
In an incident shortly after Buddy Lazier's qualification run, which, by the way, was the fastest of the day, rookie Ted Prappis hits the wall in turn 4. He got out of the car quickly and is okay. It was his second accident this month. And it was another hard luck day for Willie T. Ribbs. After getting in line to qualify, Ribbs pulled into the pits with more engine trouble. His crew will put another one in the car and try again on Sunday. In the final hours, it looked as though the life of car number 17 was once again coming to an end. A cloud of white smoke blanketed the north pit area and billowed from the rear of the car.
Well, obviously, we'll keep going till 6 o'clock, so if we can repair it, we'll be back out again.
As the crew worked on the car of Willie T. Ribbs, Pancho Carter's number 12 machine would fill the field. The qualifying average for the field now stood at 2:18.435. As the bumping begins, qualifying history was made at the Brickyard. Willie T. Ribbs would be the first black driver to take the green flag and qualify an entry for the Indianapolis 500.
No, it's certainly a big relief to get over this hurdle in spite, all the problems we've had. And I think, Willie's made his mark. He's put a very respectable time and showed it he's a real pro.
Well, we've been trying to get rich, and we've been hoping we'd get a sponsor, and maybe we'll get one now. We worked real hard. We didn't give up. We made the show quite easily, and that's it.
During week 4 at Indianapolis, the Indy cars didn't see any action until Thursday, Carburation Day. Setting the pace were Emerson Fittipaldi and pole sitter Rick Mears. The Penske team was checking race day setup. Also pleased with the performance of his car was defending champion Ari Luyendyk in the RCA Uno Granatelli Chevrolet. The Speedway also crowned another 4-time champion as Danny Sullivan wins the annual Miller Pit Stop contest with the help of his crew from the Patrick Racing Team.
With the Oldsmobile Toronado's advanced engine and suspension, some look at it solely as a driver's car. And with a tastefully refined interior like this, some look at Toronados solely as a personal luxury car. But they all agree with Toronado's uncommon design. They just like to look at it. Period.
There are those who thirst for something different. Something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
Don't worry, call the Carex man.
You know why I came to Carex for my muffler? I came for the overzealous expression of gratitude I received.
He came for the service.
I came for the superior expertise that's backed by this documentation.
He came for the lifetime guarantee.
You know why I came to Carex? I came for the economic ramifications.
He came for the price.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. Don't worry, call the Carex man.
I don't think there's a more competitive business than the automobile business. At Collins Oldsmobile, Lincoln Mercury, Nissan, and Mitsubishi, we realize you have a lot of choices. If you choose Collins, we're going to make sure you're happy with the price, service, and the way you're treated. Because if you're completely satisfied with your car or truck, you'll come back and you'll tell your friends. Compare and you'll see why we believe it's impossible for Collins to be undersold.
Starting from the pole position for a record 6th time, car number 3, Rick Mears, a Marlboro Penske Chevy 91, 224.113 miles an hour for Rick Mears. In the middle of row 1, 4-time champion A.J. Foyt in what he says will be his last 500-mile race here. Mario Andretti, the 1969 champion, on the outside of row number 1. Row 2 looks like this with Bobby Rahal, Michael Andretti, and Al Unser Jr. In row 3, John Andretti, Jim Crawford, and Danny Sullivan driving the Patrick Racing Miller Genuine Draft Alfa Romeo. In row 4, Eddie Cheever, Jeff Andretti, and Scott Goodyear. This was the end of day 1 qualifying. Now, Gary Bentonhausen, the fastest qualifier of the month. The Glidden Paint Special driving for John Menard, a 91 Lola Buick, 224.468 miles an hour for Gary B. Defending champion Ari Lyondike, right next to Gary Bentonhausen, and next to Ari Emerson Fittipaldi. What a row 5. In row 6, Kevin Cogan, car number 9. Glidden Paint Special, Gary Bentonhausen's teammate, 91 Lola Buick, 222.8 for Kevin Cogan. Stan Fox and rookie Mike Groff, the fastest rookie ever at the Speedway, on the outside of row 6. Row 7 shapes up this way with Scotty Brayton, Tony Bentonhausen, and Bernard Jourdain. In row 8, Jeff Brabham, rookie Buddy Lazier, and Hiro Matsushita, the first Japanese driver ever at the Motor Speedway. In row 9, John Paul Jr., Terrell Palmroth, and Scott Pruitt. And in row 10, Roberto Guerrero, and then Willie T. Ribbs on the inside of row 10, the first black driver in the history of the Indianapolis 500. He qualified at better than 217 miles an hour. Dominic Dobson, who qualified with a broken leg, is on the outside of row 10. And the last row looks like this. Randy Lewis, Pancho Carter, and 2-time champion Gordon Johncock, as we are set to go racing for the 75th running of the Indy 500.
Locker Extra.